Hello, I'm Nathan Judo. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Liam Keane. Liam, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Aston Villa 1. I was going to say it's a kind of a fair result, but then those last 12 minutes of injury time Wolves might count themselves a little bit fortunate.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good point for Wolves. I think the draw overall, both sides will probably be fairly happy with it.
Agree.
Because it's a fairly decent point for both sides. But Wolves had their moments, took the lead, had other chances, could have won this game on another day. Equally, Sar's made a couple of really good saves, and then, as you just alluded to there, right at the end, for the game to be continuing, Wolves defending 10 men, and a ball like that come in, and Watkins, if he gets it a couple inches to the right, that's 2-1 in literally the last kick of the game. It was,
Yeah, I mean, look, the second half opened up, didn't it? It was a proper derby. First half, it was just a little bit, I mean, there wasn't a lot of quality on show. It was a little bit niggly, people going down, they were trying to get fouls, and it was just a little bit playgroundish to me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There was a lot of McGinn and Dawson, all that stuff with corners coming in. There was the referee, without blaming other players, to be honest, the referee didn't really get.
He facilitated that happening.
He didn't get a grasp on the game. He didn't get control of the game, and that's where that started. That's the problems there. So that's what you're really alluding to in terms of the childish and the play acting and a bit of. It was just a little bit silly at times, the game.
And Sar probably making the save from Cash.
Making the save there was the big moment. There was a couple others, but it wasn't the best first half.
No, it was poor quality.
Second half was a lot better, not just as an entertainment and as from a neutral position for anyone watching. But there were chances. There were goals, obviously, as well. And Wolves had their moments. Look, I said at the top of this video already. Aside from the fact that Neto's gone through almost exactly carbon copy of the last two that he set up. One he scored at Luton and one he set up at City. To go past Torres, who, by the way, looks weak as a defender. I know he scored the equaliser, but my word, Neto had him on toast.
For 40-odd million quid.
Yeah, going beyond him, putting it on a plate for Hwang. He's now equalled the top goal scorer from last season, and it is what?
October the 9th, is it?
Wow,
today? I mean that's astonishing. I mean,
no, 8th. My watch is either way. It doesn't make much of a difference.
We've got to pay credit to Hwang because apart from that Ryan out Norwich chance, Wolves really hadn't had a clear-cut chance. And what we said against Manchester City with Pedro Neto, and obviously was an assist maker again today, but with these chances Wolves are creating, they're scoring and they're producing, which is a complete flipping on its head between the start of the season where they were creating 15-20 chances a game and just not scoring any of them. So at least they're being more decisive, more clinical here, which is good to know. Yeah,
they're not going to be a free scoring side,
like
they haven't been last two seasons. But I can see signs, and perhaps the fact that a couple of individuals are starting to grasp a lot of form. The Wolves are going to be better this season than they have been last season in terms of goal scoring stats. I would like to think so, at least anyway. They're getting slowly in that direction. And then the chance they did create, despite Villa's chances and the one right at the end, Neto's come inside, laid one off on a plate for Kalajic. Not a great shot. Kalajic before that actually put one right on a plate for Neto and blazed it over the bar from 10-12 yards. When I can understand it's bobbling up a little bit, but he should be hitting the target there. In the form, he should be hitting the target, and if he hits the target, he scores. So and that wins Wolves the game. So look, Wolves have had chances. There's very good signs there, and they hung on, they dug in, and they got a point in the end, albeit a slice of luck with Watkins hitting the post.
Yeah, I want to talk about 3 bookings, two for Mario Lemina, and obviously a red card and off, and also what we believe is a yellow card for Nelson Semedo. How does those implicate future games?
Yes, I've got to the bottom of it.
Okay.
The reason why it's confused is because Lemina was one yellow card away from a 5-game suspension.
5-game suspension?
No, 1-game suspension.
Crikey.
But you can see it's confusing.
It's hot today.
He got that yellow card and then of course got sent off. So what does that mean?
So once he had 1 yellow card, he was going to miss Bournemouth regardless?
With 5 yellow cards, 1-game suspension.
Yeah.
So he does still miss Bournemouth.
Yeah.
But after that game, he will then go back to 4 yellow cards and he'll be on the edge of another suspension. Because the 2 yellow cards combined to be a red card, he misses 1 game.
Right, interesting.
And he misses Bournemouth, and he'll now be back on 4 yellow cards for Bournemouth after the Bournemouth game onwards.
And Nelson Semedo?
So, by the way, Lemina's nailed on for another suspension.
Oh, 100%.
Pretty soon. And Semedo, the reason why this one's confusing is because, and I checked with a few people a few weeks ago and also leading up to this game as well, every website you go onto, including the Premier League's own website, have not got Nelson Semedo down as a yellow card against City, despite him getting booked coming off the pitch after the little thing at full time with Grealish. I've checked with people at Wolves, they're all telling me he 100% got booked, and he got booked today, which I had to confirm as well because the referee didn't make it clear who he was booking either. So that means, provided that's all correct, that he will also miss Bournemouth with exactly what Lamina had originally before the red card, which is 5 yellow cards, 1 game suspension. So the long and short of it is both Lamina and Semedo both missing 1 game, which will be Bournemouth after the international break. And when they come back, Lamina will be back on 4 yellow cards and only 1 away from another game.
Every website does have him on
I don't know why. I've got no. Even the Premier League's official own website, I've got Semedo on 3.
What about your private browsing sites? Do they say 3 as well?
I've spoken to people at Wolves and they're telling me 100% got booked against City. So if he turns up at the Vitality in a couple of weeks, I'll be asking a few questions. But as it stands, they're both missing that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, the good news, I guess, is Matt Doherty and Boubacar Traoré are probably nailed on starters in that game.
Yeah, and look, Boob, I thought did well again. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's so aggressive, he's so quick, he plays on the front foot.
He falls to the boobs.
Yeah, yes, you're awful. Yes, he's going to get yellow cards, he's going to make mistakes, he's haphazard at times, but I like what he brings, and particularly in a game where Wolves needed a little bit of energy there towards the end, I think it made a lot of sense coming on.
Look, I think 3 at the back obviously gives Wolves a lot of defensive. Well, they're very strong defensively. Look, Ollie Watkins, a hat-trick. He was involved in all 6 goals against Brighton, and yes, he did look dangerous, but only dangerous when Mario Lamina went off. Different when they were against 10 men, but at the same time today, they do look better, I think, as a back 3.
I agree. I've got no reason to disagree, because not just the fact that they're getting chances going forward. That would be the easy out for me, wouldn't it? If Wolves weren't creating chances, I'd say, look, it's all well and good defending and keeping clean sheets or limiting the other team, but if you don't create chances and score goals, what's the point? But they are doing that in this formation, as well as, I think, looking a lot more solid at the back. I think Dawson's suits playing in that centre of those 3. Kilman, we know he's left-footed, but he's versatile, can play on the right, and I thought he did well again today, apart from 1 or 2 small moments. Totti, I'm a fan of, and I thought he played well. So that system and setup, and with Aït-Nouri when he is fit and available, and hopefully he'll play 90 minutes soon. Obviously he came up for half-time again today. I like him in that formation. There's a lot more solidity and rigidity to that team. The problem is Semedo got caught out a few times at the back post, 1 for the equaliser and also 1 that Zaniolo almost scored a winner for, and he got caught out. He's caught out too many times at that far post. That's something Wolves need to fix. But other than that, I like the system. 11 versus 11, good game, fair game, probably pretty even. 11 versus 10, goodness me, I mean, they were hanging on there towards the end, aren't they? Yeah, they were, and you'd expect that, to be honest, because they've gone down to 10, the crowd starts to get nervous, Villa are pushing, desperate for a winner, and naturally you're going to retreat. So I can't criticise them for doing that. Gary O'Neill's substitutions weren't retreating substitutions either. He brought Kalajic on, he brought Fabio Silva on. So I can't criticise Gary O'Neill or the team for the way that game ended. In fact, I'm going to go the opposite way and say they come on and got something. But, with a massive but, if Watkins gets that an inch or 2 to the right, that is 2-1 with the very final kick of the game, and that would be a huge blow. Or Douglas Luiz, or Konsa as well. I mean, they had 3 or 4 great chances, really. Yeah, Douglas Luiz had another good shot block. There was one in the first half as well. Konsa had an effort saved by Sarr. Sarr played well today. So, yeah, there's they rode their luck at the end, but I think they probably just about deserved it on the balance of the game, and the fact that it was a pretty good performance. It wasn't a City level, but it was good. Yeah, work to do, but they're going to international break now, and more chance for Gary O'Neill to work on it, to build on it, and look, he's going to breathe a huge sigh of relief going into that international break now. They're a lot better than he was in the previous international break. They've beaten Manchester City, they've held Aston Villa to a draw here. A lot to build on now, going back to his old stomping ground. Yes, it feels like a strangely bigger game than probably we thought it would be, because albeit Bournemouth are going to be down there from the start of the season they've had as well, you'd expect them to be, obviously losing 3-0 to Everton this weekend as well, but the fact that it's all the narratives around it, O'Neill going back to the side that unceremoniously sacked him in the summer, probably a few points to prove. And with the landscape of the Premier League table, I think Wolves have had a fairly okay start, considering that win against City did massive things for that. They just got beat 3-0 by Everton. Yeah, exactly. I meant City for a second. And you go into this game now, it's not a must-win at this stage of the season by any means, but you have to go there and get some sort of result now, and a performance is important for Wolves. But the signs are good. Look, 8 games, 8 points. If they can go to Bournemouth, all of a sudden 11 points from 9 if they win there, that's a decent enough start in my book. Yeah, they've got a couple of difficult-ish home games, but only as good as someone like Aston Villa coming in today, and they've got a draw from that. They're beating Manchester City, so there should not be any fear factor there. But at the same time, they need to go there and put a performance in. They were disappointing at Luton, really, weren't they? They were poor
draw at Luton, they were lucky really to get a draw there. If they can go there and put a good result today against Bournemouth, then 3 points. Gary O'Neill will be happy, the fans will be happy, the players will be delighted.
Yeah, definitely. And coming off the back of this game, as you say, 8 points from 8 games. If you average that out over the season, look at it, 38 points.
Oh,
good match for me.
My God, look at this kid.
Shocking for me, I know. And that's probably safe in most Premier League seasons, but particularly this one, I think.
But if you go 11 from 9 and you do that, then you're probably finishing
exactly. And I think the ambitions for Wolves should be to not be in a relegation battle, and should be, we're looking at middle of the bottom half, or even just getting up to the sort of mid-table, really. And that will be an okay season because of the context of which Gary O'Neill's coming to the campaign. 4 days before the United game, all the sales in the summer, a few late additions, losing Nunes, all of the things that got into this season setting up. That would be a fairly decent campaign, and they're on track to do that as it stands. But going to Bournemouth, as you say, getting a win, 11 from 9, that would put them in the right trajectory for a pretty decent campaign, I would like.
Love it. Wolves 1, Villa 1. For all the post-match reaction, make sure you log on to expressthestar.com.